Hello everyone, welcome to another video of Caster WPF, and in this video we are going to talk about the string animations and the basics of string animations and how to create them. So what we are going to create is something like this, and if you look into this WPF window, I have two text blocks and one button placed over in the middle. And if I click on the button, and it's possible to animate the text of the button as well, apart from text block that is being animated on top and bottom. And if you take a closer look in the all three animations that are ongoing, so it's not smooth. If you look into my previous videos regarding double animation or color animation, and this one is little bit discrete. That's what we used to call in the animation terminology. And it's a discrete animation. It just abruptly changes from one state of keyframe to another state of keyframe. So that's why you are seeing each character is being discretely changing from one state to another. So if you take a closer look, it's like a usually we don't use this kind of animations. So because it's going to be until unless it's going really fast, and you can see that okay, it's going fast and it's showcasing like a marquee effect of HTML. So that's what today's session. And what we are going to do is we're going to do the animation in button as well as the text block. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I have a bonus section which reveals how to overcome this kind of discrete effects and have a little bit smoother version of the string animation. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to close the application. So here I am created a string animation project, and it's a default project from WPF and doesn't have any user input code as of yet. And what we are going to do is we're going to create a button first. Let's go with button because that seems a little bit different when you compare with the text block or label that you are seeing. So for button, actually, I'm going to name it like animation button, and we're not going to give a height or width, and rather than what we're going to do is we're going to set the horizontal and vertical alignment as center so that it comes in the center of the grid that you're seeing. And we'll close it, and in the center, or even we forgot what we have to give, right? So the content of the button is going to be what you have seen earlier, animation, or before animation. This is what happens in the preview that we saw earlier. And what we are going to do is we're going to increase the size of the text that's being shown in the button. Maybe in order to make it a little bit visible, or when the animation show starts. So, so we have added font size, and in order to do the any kind of animation, we need to have a storyboard, and so that we have covered earlier. So what you're going to do is you're going to add a trigger as an event trigger. So you're going to keep its event as loaded, and as usual, if you have seen earlier videos, it's going with the same syntax and same flow. And instead of double or color animation, we are going to create string animation using keyframes. And we have a storyboard target name, so that is the button name that we are given, my animation button. And storyboard target property, so that is button dot content, because that's where we have added the text, right? So button dot content, and your duration has to be, so let's keep it as 5 seconds, and we'll come back to it later. And we have a fill behavior. I'll explain why we are giving it in another couple of minutes. So once you do that, we still haven't mentioned what we are going to animate, or from what to what we are going to animate. So the keyframe is the one that decides that, and what particular second, what's the value has to be. So here we have to create a discrete string keyframe, and you have a value. So I'm going to set a key time as 0, and I'm going to copy it and paste a couple of times. And so we're going to increment the seconds from 0 to 5, and we're going to say what value it has to be in that particular second. So that's what keyframe decides. So note that I have added the two last keyframes as the same, because this is going to be like this is what it's going to stay for a while. And we have even discussed this in color animation. If you haven't seen that, you can see it in the link that I'm showing here. So so right, we have set the content. We will be changing the seconds. Maybe we'll go with 0.5 seconds, because that's going to be a little bit quicker than the previous one. zero point 0.2 would be better, I guess. 0.2, zero point 0.4 will increase by 0.2 seconds. So we have 0.6, 0.8, 1, 1.2, 1.4, 0.6, 1.8, 2, 2.2, and so on. It ends with 2.8, so we have to give the duration as 2.8, and let's give it a go. So while it's building, so here if you note that I have given the event as loaded, so it's going to start as soon as the window starts. So if the window is starting as of now, and you can immediately see the effect that's been loaded. So that's what the loaded event comes into picture. And I guess we have an exception. So cannot resolve all property references in the property path. All right, so just a minute. We're going to cover it like this. And we'll see whether it's coming. All right, it's coming. So as you can see, as soon as the window is loaded, it's still the button, and the button content is the text of the button. It keeps animating, and you can click on the while animating itself. So if you want it loaded in a click event, so you can do it by giving button dot click, or even just click. No, it's not taking. So it should be button dot click, and we'll give it a go. And it's going as per whatever we are setting. So as every time you click, it's going to be starting the animation from that particular second. It's even if it is still running, you can click it, and you can start the animation. So that's how flexible you get the animations from the storyboard. So now that we have done the button, we will switch over to text block. So the text block is very similar to this, and we have it as usual. We have to give it a name, text block, and what we are going to do is text, and it's sitting behind the button. So I'm going to set a margin of negative so that it goes above, and we have to add the same triggers, text block dot triggers, event trigger. So here we'll use the loaded event, and we'll begin the storyboard. We'll have string animation, target name is text block, target property as text block dot text. Note that I'm using parenthesis. So duration 2 seconds, and there it has the ability to auto reverse, and you have repeat behavior also is there, how many times you want to repeat it. And so for this particular session, I'm going to keep it as auto reverse, and we have repeat behavior. I'm going to repeat it forever, and we have value. We'll do the copy paste from here, so you can add any kind of values. Because this is going to be the same, and so we have auto reverse and repeat behavior, and we have added it as 2.8 seconds of data. So we'll keep it as 2.8, and we'll give it a go. And there you go. So it just starts and it reverses, or that's what auto reverse comes into picture. So it just goes till the end, and then it just reverses from the end to the starting. So it follows the same difference of seconds, and it goes going back and forth because of repeat behavior. So if you don't have that repeat behavior, it will reverse at least once. So if I remove this and press start, so it goes till Caster WPF, and then it goes back to H, and then it stops, because that's what the 0th second uh, discrete keyframe over here. So that's what repeat behavior does in our animation settings. I'll keep it as forever. And you can do the same thing in text blocks or wherever you want, and you can adjust the settings of the duration to make it come really fast. And even if you keep it little bit faster, it's going to look like a smoother version. But we have a bonus section where we will cover that. So stay tuned, and we will cover it in next couple of seconds. So I told you I'll be explaining fill behavior at the next couple of minutes. So what this fill behavior describes is we have defined some value value animation is going to be changing the value of the button, and the text is going to be ending like this: hi from Caster WPF. So if you keep it like hold end, what it means is, so the last value of the animation, it's going to be staying setting or freezing that particular value as the animation stops. So if you look at the actual demo or the view, so I click the button and it changes till Caster WPF, and then it stops and keeping the high from Caster WPF as the text. So if I'm going to change this to stop, so there are only two enumerations available over here, and if I'm keeping it as a stop, and if I'm going to start the animation or the start the application, so it goes till Caster WPF, and it goes to the text state before the animation. So before the animation started, we have kept it as a before animation. That's why the text, particular text that I have given. So in order for you to understand better. So that's it for the fill behavior. All right, so coming back to the bonus section. So if you watched till here, and you get to see the bonus section. So here what we are going to do is we are going to do the text animation, but we're not going to use the string animation tag. So we're going to make it a little bit smoother, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to have a text block, and I'll keep naming it as a smooth text. And in order for us to compare, I'm going to keep it in the nearby location as the previous text. So hi from Caster WPF, and we'll keep the margin. Oh, it's keeping window. Let me remove that. Okay, text. So I have another text coming over here, and we'll have the triggers text block dot triggers event trigger, same loaded event, and we have begin animation or begin storyboard. And we, instead of string animation, I'm going to use double animation. And first thing, whatever we are going to do is you have to set the target name and target property, and until unless you're doing it into a different one, so we can give the name the same smooth text, and we have target property. I'm going to keep instead of text, what we are going to do is we're going to play with the width property, and we'll see how it comes. Okay, so I'm not giving from because the from is already there. So I'm going to reduce it to 0, and we have a duration of 2 seconds. Let me keep it as 2 seconds, and I'll keep auto reverse as true. Also repeat behavior as forever, and we'll see. So cannot animate width property of the text block. We'll see why it is giving like this. So it might have assumed that we have set the width property, but it's currently set it as an auto. So maybe we'll give explicitly the same width that auto is being setting, and then we'll give it a go, because that's not explicitly set property from the width. And as you can see, it's smooth when you compare with the previous string animation, and we are just playing with the width property. So if you have already taken a look into double animation video that we have seen earlier, this is one more example for that, and it makes things easier when you find it a little bit difficult by doing in another type of animation. All right, thanks for watching, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up, or you can share or subscribe to the content to watch more educational tutorials, and bye.